So I wanted to show you how to do maple syruping in your backyard. Some of you asked last year to actually come and watch me do it, and unfortunately I got kind of caught off guard with the weather and stuff and decided maybe it'd just be easier to make a video. So right behind me is one of our maple trees. Kind of give you a sense of the size of it. It's a pretty good diameter. And we put our taps in yesterday, and what we use are just water jugs. Look like milk jugs, but we get distilled water in them, and I use that to collect the sap in. So let me show you how it's done. First thing you want to do, I've got two suspended there on the side of our tree. The first thing you want to do is identify the north side of the tree that's going to get the most sun. And you want to put your taps over the larger roots that are coming up out of the ground. So I've got these positioned over some of the larger ones on my tree. And what we started with yesterday is, I've got my drill down here on the ground just to show you, but I used a 1/2 inch drill bit, 1/2 inch diameter, and I put some tape on it about 1.5 inches up the shaft, just so that I would know how deep to drill into the tree. And what you want to do when you're drilling is put it at just a slight angle, so that when the sap begins flowing, gravity is going to draw it down and into the container. The way you know that it's time to start collecting sap is you're looking for the temperature changes. And for us right now, although the sap is flowing a little slowly, what you want to do is wait for temperatures to still be freezing at night, but in the daytime to be above freezing. And so today we got up into the 40s, hooray, and I know tomorrow we're getting down into 25 as our high. So we're jogging a little up and down here, but the sap is definitely starting to flow. Our trees are beginning to bud, and I know it's time. The earlier you can catch the sap, the better. So let me just show you real quick how we rigged it, and that's Miley, just in case you cared. But this is just a small piece of PVC pipe that I got from Home Depot, and again, it fits nice and snugly into that 1/2 diameter hole. So I just use that El Cheapo, and then of course these water jugs. It doesn't get much cheaper than that, but they're actually kind of ideal because you've got caps on the top that keep any debris during the day from falling down into the sap, whereas if you use an open bucket, that can sometimes be a problem, and you have to filter out any of that. And then I know you can't see it because there's a handle here, but I also drilled a hole into the bucket so that it could go directly inside. And this is just rig it with any kind of a wire holder to suspend it from a nail. So that's really it. It's very, very simple. And as I said, we've got two of them going there. When it gets flowing to full capacity, these will fill up several times a day. And in order to make maple syrup, I'll show you that as the next step. But just so you know, it's about a 40-to-1 ratio. And last year, I think we got almost a gallon of maple syrup. So we had a pretty successful year. So I'll show you how to make syrup in just a moment. We're in the kitchen now, and I'm ready to make at least my first batch of maple syrup. And it's not going to make a lot. I've got about a gallon, and when that reduces down, it's going to be pretty pathetic. But you make up for it with lots of trips to the kitchen. So anyway, let me show you how it's done. So it helps to have a heavy gauge. There we go. Helps to have a heavy gauge pan if you're going to do this, so that it, as you get down to the last bits of it condensing and getting darker in color, if you've got a thin bottom pan, it's more likely to burn. So let me just empty. This is the first round. As you can see, it looks exactly like water. I remember hearing one guy, when I was learning how to do this, say that the pioneers used to drink this in the wintertime because it was such a pure source of water. And if you taste it, it comes, it's coming from underground, and it is icy cold. It is so delicious. And it tastes just like water, except there's the tiniest little hint of sugar to it, so it really is kind of cool stuff. So, as you can see there, I've poured it in my pan. I've got it on a high flame, And for a gallon of maple sap, it's going to take about an hour and a half. After that point, it will have evaporated down and condensed, and I'll show you what it looks like at that point. And then it becomes kind of a watching game with the clock. We're going to be checking it every 10 minutes, and then every 3 minutes, and then every 2, because as it gets right near the end, you want to be watching it like a hawk. Otherwise, you'll end up with burnt syrup. And I've done that before. It's not pretty. That's what it looks like after an hour and a half. It's, as you can see, it's gotten much shallower, and it started to change color. So it's now about an inch depth, and it's still simmering there. So I'm going to start it on a 10-minute timer just to make sure I catch it when it's getting close. So as you can see, we're at the very end, and it's foaming, and it's very thin on the bottom, but it also hasn't changed color very much. That's actually kind of normal for this kind of maple syrup because it's from a silver maple tree instead of a sugar maple. But just so you know, you can use all the different maple trees. They all just make a different kind of flavor, a distinct flavor between each one, and this one's kind of more vanilla in its taste. But anyway, now we're going to strain it. So I've put some cheesecloth over the top to strain out the bit of foam and some of the sediment that's in the bottom. And I don't know if you can see there, but what's coming through down below is, as I said, a lot more honey colored than what you'll find in a sugar maple. But as I explained, the flavors are a little bit different too, and this really does have a stronger vanilla flavor. So that is the huge quantity that 1 gallon of maple syrup will give you. But you just keep it going, and eventually it adds up, and it's worth it.